Hi, this is Josephine from the Nutrition Mentor. I'll be instructing you on how to undertake the Dutch Complete or Dutch Adrenal Hormones test. This is your test kit. In it, you'll find 5 pieces of collection devices, a small plastic bag, your test requisition form, of which you have to fill in both sides, whether you're undertaking the Dutch Complete or Dutch Adrenals test, that would be marked for you. And an envelope to return your test samples to the lab. If you're a cycling premenopausal woman and you have a typical 28-day cycle, you begin collection between days 19 and 22. If you have a longer cycle, you add the number of days accordingly. For example, if you have a 30-day cycle, you will collect between days 21 and 24. Similarly, if your cycle is shorter, you will subtract the number of days accordingly. So for 26-day cycle, you'll collect on days 17 to 20. If you are performing only the Dutch Adrenals test, then it doesn't matter. You may collect on any day. Back to the Dutch Complete Hormones test. If you have irregular cycles or you've had an ablation or your uterus removed, then it is best to use an ovulation testing kit. When ovulation is detected, you will collect after days 6 or 7 of ovulation. If you're a man or a postmenopausal woman, you can collect on any day. So how do you collect? On the collection devices, make sure your details are filled in accordingly and you've put down the date and time of collection. If you're a menstruating woman, indicate the day of your cycle. Circle which sample you are collecting, whether it's the dinner time, bedtime, waking, 2 hours after waking, or the extra overnight sample. To collect the sample, you simply urinate into a clean cup, dip this device into the cup, and have the urine saturated up to this point. Alternatively, you can urinate directly on the device. After that, just leave it to dry somewhere in the bathroom. Once it is dried, you place it into the plastic bag. So you do the same for all the other samples. The collection kit here gives you a suggested schedule of collection. The important thing to note is not to drink caffeine or have any large amount of fluid intakes on the days of collection. Do not drink any fluid 2 hours before collecting each sample. The lab suggests keeping your fluid intake to less than 32 ounces or 4 cups of water on day 1 and less than 8 ounces or 1 cup between the first morning sample and the second morning sample. So if you were to follow this schedule, your first collection will be around dinner time. The second one would be bedtime. The third sample will be within 10 minutes of waking up the next morning. And the fourth sample will be 2 hours after the first morning sample. It is best to use a timer to set a 2-hour timer to collect the second morning sample so that you know when it is 2 hours after you've collected the first morning sample. There's actually no need to follow this schedule, so you may choose to start collecting at any of these times. For instance, you could start collecting starting from the waking sample, and then followed by the 2 hours after waking, then the dinner sample, and then the bedtime. So the order doesn't really matter. If you are taking any kind of hormones, please read the instructions under hormone schedule. If there's anything you're unsure of because you're taking hormones, please do consult me. You will also be given a list of foods and supplements to restrict for 72 hours. Please follow the instructions. If you happen to miss a collection, simply collect the sample as instructed the following day. If you have a sleep schedule that is different from most people, for example, if you're a night worker, your bedtime sample would be the sample before your longest stretch of sleep, and your waking sample will be after this sleeping period, and the next sample 2 hours later. Your dinner sample should be collected 4 to 7 hours before sleep. If you're unable to urinate at the time when you're about to collect the sample, simply drink some fluid and go as soon as you can. However, if you can't urinate for quite a long stretch after this time, then collect the sample the next day. The dinner time sample should ideally be collected before the evening meal, and the ideal time is around 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. is fine as well. The starch hormone testing is also appropriate for children, but the minimum age for testing is 12 years old. Now, after all your samples have dried, you put them into this plastic bag. Make sure your requisition forms is filled in accordingly and you answer all the questions. You put all these into this envelope and seal. It is best to send off the samples as soon as possible. If there's a delay in sending, you may place the sample in a plastic bag in the freezer until you're ready to post. However, do not wait too many days. I would suggest posting within a day or two after collecting at the latest. You have the option to either sending by registered mail, or if you wanted to get to the lab much quicker, then you can courier it. In both cases, you just need to declare them as document. There is no need for any special customs clearance documentation, as they are totally harmless. For instructions on how to arrange a courier like FedEx, please refer to my website for the instructions. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you.